Well, we keep noting how incredibly generous Australians have been following those ferocious bushfires across 4 states this summer. And the phenomenal donations given to crowdfunding sites like the one by comedian Celeste Barber, which has hit 52 million, shows that many donors are now preferring that 100% of their money go directly to victims. But something has come up related to the bushfires that affects the mental health of the nation. We're now hearing today that many children are turning up to psychology rooms, counselling rooms, and telling about their fears and anxiety and stress related to the future of climate in the world. In other words, they've been scared witless about the forecast and alarmism associated with climate change. On top of that, there's new research out today from the Black Dog Institute in conjunction with the UNSW in Sydney, which says that young doctors are at the top of the list for those in workplaces suffering the most stress. You can kind of understand it, but the problem is some of them are committing suicide. I thought I'd talk this evening to Jodie Lowinger, doctor, who's from the Sydney Anxiety Clinic, and she's in our CBD studio. Jodie, thank you very much for your time.
Hi Chris, a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, young doctors, they're at the top of the list, we're hearing, in this new research today, and the study has painted a quite terrible picture of the pressure they're under. Tell me a little bit about that. Why do they go through so much? Is it about the fact that they can't face the life and death that their job they face every week, or is it something different?
Young doctors are under an abundance of stress by the nature of the work that they're doing and the fact that they really want to perform well under these circumstances. And so there's a pressure in the inherent nature of the job to not make a mistake and to get things right. And so these combinations of factors impact on their level of stress. They're working long hours, they're working under the pump, and there's this desire to perform effectively at all times.
How do you protect them from that stress, given the fact that this is life and death? You can't stop for a committee meeting or a counselling session. They throw themselves into their work. They are wanting to save lives. OK, it's the first chapter in a long career, but surely we need to be doing something maybe at the teaching level and within hospitals to try and protect them.
Absolutely. As we know, prevention is so much better than cure. Of course, we need to work at prevention as well as early intervention. Ultimately, if we can build it into programs and processes from the ground up to equip these individuals with resilience skills, with mindset skills, so they can stand up to that stress and worry that plays out. Typically and often it's a fear of failure, it's a fear of not being good enough. These mindset factors overlay the underpinning of an already stressful environment. So if we can build in well-being programs that prevent, this can be fantastic. And there are initiatives being put in place, such as the division of shifts to make sure of the on-call rosters and things of that nature.
Good.
That on the ground we're remedying it, we're moving in that direction. So the fact that these surveys have come out identifying some of the appalling statistics that can be at play to demonstrate the stress that young medical officers are under, it's now tipping into action, which is tremendous.
Yeah, good. Once we know the problem and we identify it properly and statistically, we can work on it. All right, children's anxiety. Correct. I notice that the story surrounds an upsurge in those going to counselling sessions and needing help. These are school children. And you, coincidentally, have been speaking about this very issue this week. Are the stories and the fears right in the minds of those who think they know about climate change?
The stories and the fears, certainly what I'm seeing at the Sydney Anxiety Clinic, are demonstrating an increasing prevalence. So at the clinic we work with children, adolescents and adults, and in these 3 age groups I'm seeing an escalation of eco-anxiety, and it's been brought to the fore with the bushfires and the horrendous devastation that people have been experiencing, and we're breathing the smoke, and so we're experiencing firsthand these impacts on us, and that can trigger this cycle of panic that's taking hold. The thing is that these experiences bring it more to front of mind.
Of course.
And so if we can notice the worry that's taking place, and if we can recognise that worry can just lead to more worry, if we can remedy the worry and tip it into problem solving and action planning, it raises awareness in society and helps people to feel empowered to make a difference.
OK, I don't want to bash up teachers here, but I get the feeling that the kids are being scared witless because they're being told that our government should be doing more. We can change the ferocity of bushfires if we just stop carbon dioxide emissions. And they're being told a little bit of the wrong information and not the factual information. You can see that on the posters that they draw up. I think it might be about time that principals start laying down the law to teachers, surely.
It's a really valid point that you raise, is to ensure that the information and evidence that we are basing these bits of information to students are based on fact.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing when I'm working with schools is, in fact, well-being is being placed more front of mind. It's actually really quite promising what we're seeing, because the evidence is demonstrating 1 in 4 of our children and adolescents are experiencing anxiety to clinical levels. That's anxiety to the point that it's creating prolonged fear, suffering and avoidance in their life. And so these statistics are coming out, and we're recognising that there's an absolute need in the school system to build in wellbeing programs to bolster our students' resilience against the worry that's taking hold.
Exactly, there needs to be a lot more work done there. Your website, sydneyanxietyclinic.com.au. Thank you very much, Jodie Lowinger, for your time this evening.